I'm not masturbating, I'm itching my leg, I promise.
So who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
What is up, guys, and welcome to a Friday video that I was hoping would be something more substantive, but is just gonna be me talking to you guys again. Hopefully you enjoy this kind of content. This time, it's not gonna be about anything specific relationship-wise. Like I said, we're not gonna be talking about like what happened with Jay and the new boyfriend and all that stuff anymore for a while, but it might have little tones of relationships because I watched a video today. A very cool video by Destiny. What the hell was that? What was that verbiage? That was really weird. One of the best discussions with Destiny and another streamer that I've seen in a while. It's not some like huge like ownage clusterfuck fucking stream with 20 people, and it's not arguing with someone about socialism. It's actually just kind of having a conversation with someone who more or less agrees with him, but they can also challenge him on relationships and other things. I'm gonna link it down in the description because I feel like if you have like an hour and a half to do something and you just want to listen to something in the background, which is me often because I'll be either editing or getting ready and I have a lot of time to just like listen to stuff and to process it while I'm doing something mechanical with my hands. I actually love that I'm able to do stuff like that. But if you want to listen to it, I'll post it down in the description. It's a pretty good watch. I would say the first half isn't that interesting to me because I feel like I've overthought the idea of an open relationship or the idea of alternative relationships, and I've already understood all the things that they talk about in the beginning. But it's kind of interesting to think about what they say, which is we're kind of programmed to think a certain way about certain things our entire lives and not really question it, when really it's very easy to philosophically break down all of the inconsistencies about these preconceived notions that were put into our heads from birth. So the idea of this is how a relationship is supposed to be is something that a lot of people have in their heads. So they're like compensating for that lack of reasoning as to why, for instance, an open relationship couldn't work by just adding in things that could also apply to that relationship. So for instance, a lot of people will say like, well, open relationships can't work because there's going to be a lot of jealousy, right? And it's like, well, there's jealousy in a normal relationship. Why does jealousy immediately preclude you from acting normally? And why can't you deal with jealousy just like you deal with any other emotion? Why are you so averse to jealousy that you won't even try an alternative form of relationship that might be more fulfilling to you in the long run if you can either get a grip on your jealousy or just deal with jealousy? Or people will be like, oh my god, there's STDs, but there's STDs in regular relationships or in relationships where you're sleeping around. A lot of inconsistencies there. People will basically just be like, oh well, open relationships or this alternative style of relationship is going to come with XYZ subset of problems, and then ignore that regular relationships have that many problems as well, just maybe different ones. That kind of thing, not as interesting to me. But what I found interesting was one thing that they brought up like more than halfway through the video, where they were talking about, and I want your opinion on this, so please post in the comments. You guys always give me like the best feedback. We can talk about stuff and I can see things from different perspectives. So one thing that I really hate in a relationship is when the person wants to go to bed without resolving an issue, or the person wants to go to bed mad, essentially. Now, I've seen a lot of memes and a lot of people say that like you should never ever go to sleep mad. You should always go to sleep like loving your partner and like not having any problems because like the sleep is gonna be better, etc., etc. But it was funny because in the middle, Destiny was just like, I wanna see what you think about this. And he was like, every single relationship I've ever had, the girl wants to resolve the issue right away and I need like 6 hours. That was basically what he said. Like, talk to me in 6 hours and then we can plan it out. And he was saying like, in the heat of the moment, he's gonna say some rude things and he's gonna be heated and it's not gonna be like a productive conversation, but every girl in the world wants to handle it immediately rather than waiting, right? I fall into the camp of every girl. I really don't like going to bed angry, and I feel like there's a lot of things that like back that up, a lot of memes and a lot of like psychology to back up not going to bed angry. But when I think about it, honestly, like, yeah, like when you're heated, when you're in the moment, you're probably not gonna have a productive conversation. You might say things that you don't mean, and it's probably not gonna end in some kind of solution. In fact, if you wait a little bit longer and then bring it back up, if you actually have the balls to bring it back up, because a lot of people, once they're cooled off, they won't bring back up a problem. So the problem will just keep happening because they don't ever actually resolve it, because they either fight and yell in the moment and then let it go later and then just say sorry but don't actually fix anything, or they just never bring it up again at all until it blows up again later down the line. Which camp do you guys fall into? And I want to know if you're male or female. Usually you can tell by the name and the picture and all that stuff, but like I feel like it's mostly women that want to do it in the moment, and it's mostly men who want to do it later. And I think it's because men are more logical, so they understand more often than not. I mean, some men like just like blow up and scream and get angry and can't control their emotions. That's true. But I think men more often than not are going to understand the validity of the fact that they're not going to be able to break things down logically and have a logical conversation that's going to end in any kind of meaningful change in the moment. Whereas, and I'm going to explain my position, when I'm like on bad terms with a significant other or something, and they're being cold to me, or they're being mean to me, or they're like doing the cold shoulder and just like turning around and going to sleep type of thing, like I feel like I don't know what's going to happen. There's an insecurity there that's like, not like an insecurity in myself or whatever, but an insecurity in our relationship that like right now our relationship might be in limbo. So all I want right now is to get to a point where like I'm hugging them again and I'm cuddling them again and we're okay. And I will do like 5 hours of screaming, then a cool down, then a talk, no separation, no time apart in order to get to that point, because all I want to know is to know that we are going to be okay. Whereas I think men don't necessarily need that kind of validation. They just kind of handle their emotions a little bit differently, and that kind of insecurity isn't there as much. I would really love to know from a guy who is the cold shoulder type, who does want that 6 hours of refresh time before they talk again, if they ever do feel that kind of insecurity in the relationship, or if they just don't think that every single fight is catastrophic like that. Because I feel like most men that I have met or been with or been around enough to get in a fight like that with, they are of the like give me space persuasion. I'm not a big fan of the give me space persuasion. I don't like it when people leave, especially like completely leave when there's a fight going on or when something's going awry, because I really feel like not only can they go out and like hurt themselves in the moment, I'd rather they do whatever they're gonna do in the moment hastily here with me, where like we can take care of each other. But I also feel like there's no reason to be in that heightened state of emotions for very long. We can just like talk it through, whatever. But I also probably agree that we can't talk it through as well in that state of mind. I am dressed very cutely because after this I have to film some stuff for my OnlyFans and my Patreon. Shameless plug, links are in the description. I really like this outfit. It's very cute. I don't know. And I just felt like streaming. I almost said streaming. I felt like recording in the love sack because this is a very chill, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about today video. Like it might even be really short. I am so hell-bent on getting back to doing 2 videos a week, but like for some reason it's very hard to do that and everything else. I think a lot of people understand by now how much work I do for like my overall brand. I don't want to say my job because I have like 50 different jobs, but like my overall brand requires a lot of work. And if I procrastinate for even a moment, I end up getting behind on things. It's kind of stressful. And then some days I'll have really like progressive. Some days I'll have really productive days and I'll pump out like 3 videos or something. But then if I don't like keep that momentum, I still kind of fall behind. And this was the case before I had anything else going on in my life. Like I told you guys prior, when I was living with Jay over there and everything, I would like go months without taking a day off, and my days of work would be like 10 hours. Yeah, I would procrastinate some, or I would hang out with Jay or something, or I would have lunch and then like watch a YouTube video, but like most of the day was me editing or filming or preparing stuff like that, or you know, answering emails, answering messages on the various social medias, like engaging on social media so that I can grow or so that I can push that into transferable eyes on different platforms that make me money, etc., like doing brand stuff. And now that I have a little bit more of a social life and I take a little bit more time off and I take nights off and I have a more rigid schedule where it's like either 5 or 9 a.m. to like 6 or 8 p.m. Like that's the time that I have to do everything that is like filming and work. And then I also have chores to do and errands. I really like the chores and errands because they're a nice little respite from like having to work a lot. Often I would feel very burnt out. But when I think about like, oh, I'll just edit for a little bit, and then when I start to feel burnt out, I'll just grab a sucker, grab in my Jeep, and I'll go like pick up Hunter's dry cleaning or whatever. I really like those little downtimes because it's nice to not be working entire days and knowing that I have to do certain things to upkeep the house or whatever submissive bullshit I'm doing now. And that I also have to like go at some point and do something with Jay at my house or pick something up or, you know, all these different things that I have to do. But it's really putting a strain on the amount of things that I can do myself in my job because I was working so much more before. And now that I'm working just like regular people hours and then also adding in some chores, it's becoming obvious that I have to like either cut back on some things or I have to just be really fucking hyper aware of my efficiency and never fucking procrastinate, which seems like a tall order, but I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to work really hard on my self-discipline as well. There's a few reasons why I want to work on my self-discipline. One is obviously the food thing. I just cannot do fucking skinny girl lifestyle without getting the food under control. So I'm at the point where I'm not worrying too much about working out more than like 30 minutes of moving my body a day, which is easy to do. I'll just like jump rope in the morning, or I will go to the gym and lift weights like I should, and then only do like 10 to 20 minutes of cardio superfluously. I just need to have the discipline to not eat too many calories. I'm not strictly counting my calories, but when I have something that's kind of weird, I'll count it up for the day, and then I'll skip a couple days because those days were good, because all I had was like this, that, and the other, and I know that it's under the amount of calories that I should be eating, and I'm trying just to like really, really just be patient with my mental on this, because like, it's so funny when I see these memes where they're like, oh yeah, go to the gym every single day for 2 months and see your body change and become addicted to going to the gym. So many people harp on going to the gym, but it is 99.9% in my situation, at least, food. It has nothing to do with going to the gym. It's so easy for me to be consistent with moving my body, going to the gym, hiking, and all that stuff, but it's almost impossible, or actually impossible, for me to have enough hours in the day of activity in order to offset like 2,000 extra calories that I eat in pizza, you know, or whatever the fuck else. And it's so easy to overeat too, especially when you're a smaller person. Like, I can only have like 1,400 calories a day before I'm overeating. So like, what I had this morning was this thing from Eggworks. I don't know if you guys have Eggworks in your area, but it's like a croissant, like an open-faced croissant with a few eggs on top and a little bit of cheese. And that doesn't sound crazy, but like when you add everything up, objectively, it's like 1,100 calories, which is like most of my fucking intake for the day. It's so easy for me to overeat. And it's like some things that are plentiful can be lower calories, and then some things that are very small, you're like, oh, that doesn't fill me up very much, but it's like 1,000 calories. So really making better food choices, not like health-wise or macros-wise even, but just better caloric food choices is something that I'm trying to force myself to do, because I know how to do it. I'm just fucking addicted to food, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm hungry. Oh my God, I have a headache because I haven't eaten enough. Oh my God, like all I can think about is food, and then I'll just eat. Or I'll be like, oh, I'll do better tomorrow. Like, oh my God, or I'll work out. It's like all these things that I tell myself, like subconsciously and consciously, to make me eat too much. I'm still on this bullshit, and no amount of hiking and no amount of fucking weightlifting or a good workout regimen is ever gonna help me stop that amount of overeating. Like, maybe if I'm only eating like 1,600 to 1,800 calories a day, I can offset that with some cardio, but at the same time, I don't want to have to do that. Like, I want to be able to just chill and know that when I'm chilling, I want to eat less or whatever. I don't want to talk too much about this. I've talked so much about this. You guys know my struggle. I feel like this is probably the only thing that maybe I would benefit from a psychologist with, because like maybe they can do some shit to snappy snap my brain or give me some drugs that like make me not think this way, because appetite suppression doesn't help, because it's not an appetite thing, I don't think. Like, most of the time it's just me tricking myself into thinking that I'm hungry, but there's no physiological signs of my hunger. Like, I'm not like in the stomach or anything like 90% of the time. And then sometimes when I'm doing well and I do feel like that, I can easily just not do it because I'm like on the hype train of doing it well. Like, I don't know. It's a whole clusterfuck of things. There's this thing at the house this weekend. Seems like it'll be fun. You know, I really like a moderate amount of drinking. And I really like it because things get a little fun and people will actually open up and talk like about deeper, more sensitive topics with me. So I almost feel like I'm like a manipulative drinker, because I've already had my inhibitions lowered. I'm already comfortable with being myself and talking about like really deep or really sensitive things like all the time. But if I can get someone else on that level, it's pretty cool to hang around with people, you know? So like hanging out with this new group of friends or with my boyfriend and doing that is like a lot of fun, because getting to know people more deeply is more fun. And I'm pretty convinced that the reason why you never build a rapport with people who you meet at a party drunk is because they just so much are embarrassed of the things that they divulge while they're in that mind state. Like, I used to get so butthurt about that. I remember I always tell the story, and I've told it recently in the Am I Ruining My Life video or whatever, and in a couple others about why I don't drink or party, where like this girlfriend of a prominent streamer like told me all of her insecurities at this wedding, and then like followed me and everything, and then the next day when she woke up, like she talked the night before about hanging out or something, and then the next day when she woke up, she unfollowed me off of everything and never talked to me again. And it's like, you know, it's very clear that I felt like I made a friend because I dug deeper in this person, and this person felt like, whoa, I said way too much, I can never talk to or see or face this person ever again. It's quite funny. Another struggle that I'm having right now that I don't want to talk about too much. Hunter came home this week and told me that I can no longer talk about like our sex life or make jokes on social, like about our sex life or his dick or whatever, like anything that I do. I don't make jokes about his dick. That sounded bad. Love it, even though I shouldn't be saying that. I don't know. But like because of his image, which is like, oh, it's so frustrating to me. Because, you know, being a lawyer, you have to keep up appearances, and you basically like lie for a living, and you basically have a facade of like integrity and all this stuff or whatever. It's like part of the job, you know, especially when you're starting out and you're trying to build a name for yourself in a reputation in a community of people who are all doing the exact same thing. You're kind of like dick measuring for who can look the most virtuous and who can have the best reputation to get the most clients or whatever. And me, on the other hand, I don't have to worry about that at all in my job. I mean, slightly maybe if I was higher profile, I would have to worry about like, oh my God, the reputation, or not the reputation, the what is it called? The obligation or the responsibility I have to my community to be virtuous and just, but like I would never do that anyway, so it doesn't fucking matter how big I got. Like PewDiePie big, I wouldn't give a fuck. I would be like, yo, that's not my fucking responsibility. That's why you fuckers have parents. Shut the fuck up. But like, it's like a whole nother world for me, and I understand it, and I empathize, because so many people, and this is probably why it bothers me so much too, because I've had so many people in my past, I've told you before in my sex stories and stuff, I've had so many people in my past like not want to associate with me publicly, which really hurts my feelings, because I feel like, you know, if I'm special to a person, I should be special enough that they would want to like show me off or publicly acknowledge that we're friends or have me as one of their friends without worrying about how it looks. And so to have a modicum of that in my new relationship really sucks. Also, I have no idea how I am going to portray interesting stories like the Cancun video or whatever if I can't talk about the sex life. But I'm willing to try this for him because he's worth it. It just sucks. Like, I guess the lingerie video was too much for him. I don't think he's even watched it. He's not like a watcher of YouTube, which is kind of annoying because, you know, you can gain a lot of insight about me. I don't think he understands like how open I am on here. And he probably just did the video thinking that I was going to cut it up more. I don't know. But like, I guess people were talking. I don't know the specifics. He like won't tell me the specifics. He just said like his friends were talking and then like something happened at work. I don't know. But I would never want to jeopardize his work. But at the same time, I'm anxious because I feel like me even doing what I do completely separate from him if I was, could somehow come back to bite him, even if I don't mention him or anything. It's just like, people might be like, you technically have a porn star as a girlfriend. Oh my God, like you're horrible. What if people find that out and they're like turned off by that? Like, he assures me that it's not going to get any worse than just don't talk about the sex life. I can't be in videos where we talk about dirty stuff or whatever. But I don't know that that's true, because if he couldn't think ahead enough to know that like being in that lingerie video might be a problem, can you really think ahead that much to know that like me talking about sex on my own or my own preferences or whatever, or me just being outspoken about politics and psychology and all that stuff, like, do you think that, like, how could you not think that that might adversely affect you? But like, he was like, yeah, I knew you would ask that, and no, definitely not. And I guess I'm just going to see where it goes and know that there's a possibility that down the line he's like, we're just not compatible because, yo, your fucking job is making me look bad. And it's like, that sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna roll with it. I've never been really forthright with like my sex life, my current sex life with Jay or anything, like back when it was current or whatever. You know what I mean? I was always like, when I tell sex stories, I would usually keep people anonymous because it was like, it affects Jay as well, or maybe there's something embarrassing in it with other people, and to say their name might like bring a shadow upon them and their social life, and they're not as equipped mentally to handle it. I'm like, I must be a sociopath at this point because I don't give a fuck. Like, if someone made a fucking really embarrassing story about me, I'd be like, sure, whatever. Like, something funny and embarrassing happened to me last weekend, and I'm not allowed to tell it because Hunter doesn't want me to tell it because of like secondhand embarrassment. It's so funny to be that way, you know? I feel like it's a weakness to be easily manipulated by your embarrassment or what people think about you, but at the same time, you kind of have to play that game when you live the life that he does and you're like a, you know, mainstream job having person. So yeah, I don't know. Nice talk, guys. Nice talk. I had fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I gotta go film some stuff. I have like 2 hours left to film and edit this Fan Service Friday for Patreon. So if you guys want to support that and support what I do, I'm gonna do my goddamnedest to be consistent on here and everywhere else because I love what I do, and I'm just starting to get back all of that passion that I have for everything that I do, because before it was kind of like a clusterfuck of like new experiences, so I wasn't as steadfast in what I was supposed to be doing, which at the time felt more like a job, and I didn't have as much time for it. But I hope to see you guys again where I can talk in this love sack. I'm not masturbating, I'm itching my leg, I promise. Imagine if just at the end of the video I just start like masturbating and I'm like completely normal and I'm not like, oh my god, I'm just like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm a compulsive masturbator, you know. I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Post your comments about the fucking being angry and fixing it now versus being angry and fixing it later thing. I really want to know, especially from men, and men specifically, what their mindset is when they're just like, no, just let me sleep. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Or I'm gonna go out for a drive, I'll come back and we'll talk about it then. Like, that's what I wanna know. Like, do you have any insecurities there that the relationship might end if you leave or if you don't fix it right then? Or like, especially imagine like going to work all day and having that like fight on your mind, and then you're supposed to be working and focusing on work. I could never do that. Anytime something like that happened where I had something extremely emotional on my mind, I was just like, all I can do is play bass. I literally have to do something mechanical that just blanks my mind. Thank God for bass, because even when I got to try to like take a drive or something, it doesn't work. I'm just sitting there thinking and stressing, and I can't even like focus on the music or the driving, and it's just like, it's too monotonous. I need something that actually takes up my mind. So more lollygagging. I gotta go. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video.